Hello everybody, thanks so much for hanging out here with me here in Just Be Blessed. My name is Alex Castillejos, where we share people's testimonies and uplifting messages and how God is good. And to date, I don't have a testimony, but let me tell you, I have an awesome interview because I know it's gonna be awesome because the topic that we're gonna be sharing with you today here in Just Be Blessed, it's gonna be a little strange, but at the same time, it's gonna be normal. And I have an interview with the producer of StarFall Documentary, Bradley Burnham. He's here and Just Be Blessed, and we're gonna be talking about all the stuff that why he decided to make this documentary and things like that. So if you have any questions or something, please send us right down in the comment below. And if you want to participate, thanks so much for the time, and don't forget to share this link because I know you're gonna be blessed. So let's welcome him, okay? How you doing, Bradley? Thanks so much for being here and Just Be Blessed.
Oh, thank you for interviewing me. This is terrific. You have a great gig going on here.
Thank you. And seriously, I'm super excited because I watched your documentary, and it was like just the name of your YouTube channel. Seriously, strange, normal. I was like, wow, this is kind of a little, kind of a little scary. But the thing is that the testimonies and the other people, they see things, weird things and UFOs but now it seems like the government of the United States say, hey, you know what? In 180 days, I'm gonna tell you guys what's going on. It was last year, but we're gonna be talking about all this stuff. Before that, I want to ask you, how do you introduce yourself, liking it, investigating this kind of topic?
Yeah. So how did I get started into this topic?
Yes.
This was about 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. I don't know. It was a while back. Actually, I think it was back in 2009. The economy had dipped and we had lost a lot of money where I was living. I was living in a highly tourist area, and I decided to come back and find a job. And I was between jobs at the time, living at my parents' house, and I was a full-grown adult, had just finished a startup company. So I had completed college, and I was in between jobs. And I said, you know what? During this time, while I'm between jobs, why don't I start something new? So there's several projects that I started at that time, and one of them was researching this highly controversial topic of UFOs, because there's so much packed in this topic, and people just didn't understand what they were or where they were coming from, or perhaps the people were just kooks, were just people from the backwoods that really didn't know what was going on. Well, I wanted to find the truth about this topic. And so what I did was I went online, I went through books, I went through different papers, went through different documents that were unclassified, to try to figure out what is it that keeps this topic bubbling up to the surface on everywhere, from tabloids to news media and everything like that. And so that was back in 2008. About that same time, I started receiving night terrors. These night terrors at night where I would wake up just like something was after me. And it wasn't anything that I was eating. I had gone around trying to figure out, okay, this has to be something normal that I've been eating, that I've been doing, that I've been researching, that I've been putting in my mind to try to stop this stuff from happening. But eventually I figured out that these night terrors that I was experiencing were very abnormal, but other people had experienced the same symptoms. And the symptoms were, I would wake up paralyzed in my bed. And I would be able to see what was going on, but I would not be able to move. I would not be able to look, talk, or anything like that. And I would just be terrified of something that was cold and ominous that was above me. Wow. And I couldn't figure out what it was, but it had to be something that was evil. That's all I could figure out. And over time, after a while, I would wake up, I would be able to move again, and everything was fine. But I would still have that feeling inside of terror. So I started Googling this too, and they said that this is a precursor that a lot of people get before they claim to be abducted. And I use the finger quotes because I'm going to tell you more about what the truth is behind this topic in a moment. But what happens is this ominous feeling that happens I was experiencing at the time kept occurring until I said, you know what? I'm done with this topic. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. I'm going to put it away and start a new project. That as soon as I put it away, not a day later, everything went away. And I wasn't scared of UFOs. I wasn't putting stuff in my head that was causing me to have these night terrors or anything like that, because immediately this thing would appear when I was working on this and disappear after I stopped working on it.
Really?
And over time, this topic, what I found was these are not called night terrors. The term that's used by people is called night paralysis, where you are scared and paralyzed in your bed. This night paralysis happens to lots of different people. In fact, I did a video on this night paralysis. But because I put it away, everything stopped, and I just kind of forgot about it after that.
Just to hear something come to you in the middle of the night and you cannot move, and it is not just one time or a couple of times. It seems like many times came to visit you, let's put it that way. And I haven't had that crazy experience, but I have something like that, but when I was a child. But interesting when you start digging, investigating and watching this stuff, reading this stuff, all the stuff is like, now it's like strange experience, but it's strange visitations.
Exactly.
It comes to your house. So it's something like different spirit or whatever you want to call it, but it's something strange.
Very strange. Very strange. Yeah. So I left the topic. I've got a job at a Christian ministry, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to leave the topic alone. And I kept bringing up, hey, this could be a potential interesting topic that we could cover, or do a revelation about, a website about, but no one would actually take up this idea of doing something on UFOs. It was my personal belief, and through research and understanding, that these things are demonic. There is something spiritual and something ominous about these things. And I'll go into the reasons why later. But what I discovered was just fascinating, because at the end of, I think it was 2019, 2020, the government started receiving these exact same things declassified. And there was people that left the government because they were covering them up for good reason. But they left the government and revealed them and shared them to the public, to the NY Times and many different free presses around, that got a lot of national attention about this stuff. And then I realized I have to do something about it. I have to continue my research regardless of what happens to me at night, and I have to produce a documentary about it.
Wow, interesting. Okay, so I'm sure we're gonna be digging it like when you start, and I want to ask you, like, did those strange things come back again? But before that, you're gonna be sharing with us when you were growing up. I mean, you were like fascinating about UFOs or the universe, or it's just like in 2008 it was like, well, I'm gonna start doing that, or how was it?
I was curious about every single, well, let's put it this way. I had come from a point in my life where I had lived a very secular life. I lived a very non-Christian life, and someone turned me around, and they realized that I was going down a wrong path, and that they corrected me. They said, hey, you know what? Perhaps this is the right way, Brad. And I said, you know what? I don't believe that's the right way. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to read through the whole Bible, and I'm going to show you where you're wrong in this.
Wow.
Well, I was wrong. So when somebody discovers, at least this is my personal experience, when someone discovers that they are wrong in a specific topic, they start to question every single thing else in their life that they've been told by common media or pastors or authoritative figures. They start to say, well, if that was just told to me and I've just accepted it, what else am I wrong about, right? So that's when I had never really been interested in UFOs. I had always believed that these things are something that I just don't want to touch, but or it's the kooky thing, the weird thing that is just too strange to talk about. So I didn't want to touch it. But after I realized I was wrong in a very pinnacle point in my life and a very important topic, I thought, you know what? I got to research everything else. What else do I not know is correct? Let's weigh the evidence on both sides of the many issues, including this UFO issue.
Wow. Okay. So now, tell us, you decided, I have to make that kind of documentary, StarFall.
But what they're saying to us now is it's going to affect Christian belief. It is going to require a rereading of the gospel as we know it. And that's the kind of information that we are receiving from the highest levels of Vatican intelligentsia.
If you're an alien and you want to get baptized, the Pope is in favor of it.
Pope Francis reiterated his view Monday that everyone has the right to be baptized. And apparently that invite extends even to Martians.
That are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet. People are going to eat the stuff.
There are things flying around up there that we haven't fully identified yet.
I got it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
There was no sound.
It's in the woods.
Yeah.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain.
144 separate sightings of UFOs by the U.S. military.
Every day for at least a couple of years.
What you are looking at is something that is a demonic presence. The senior looked at me in the eye and said, I want this program to stop.
A war of the worldview is approaching.
The term the occult in that whole world is much more a part of the UFO phenomenon.
It's almost 20,000 views in YouTube, and it's over 30 minutes documentary. And let me tell you, when I watch it, it was a little scary. I mean, I don't know. I mean, heavy information. Let's put it that way. You know, it's heavy stuff that you talk about. And you have another video that talks about who watching you at night attack. I mean, I think that's the one that you were talking about, that you made that video about paralyzed
night paralysis.
Yeah, paralysis. Okay. Yeah. So when you started working on this documentary, what happened? Did those kind of strange things come back again?
So I actually told my wife, I had been married since that time, and I told my wife, I said, look, this is what's happened to me in the past. This is what I don't want to happen to us. I don't know if what I'm about to do is going to affect you and me, if it's just going to affect me. But if I wake up screaming in the middle of the night, then I want you to know why. And she said, yeah, no problem. I'm with you. Yeah. Let's tackle this issue. And so I'm very, very, very happy to have a supportive wife that's on board with these crazy projects, strange projects that I'm involved in. So during that time, while I was producing this documentary, I was involved with a lot of different people around the world. Some people even in Hollywood that were working on this with me. They said they would help me out as much as they could to try to find material and do the effects of the program. And we worked on it together. And during this time period, I started to experience some very strange stuff that happened, but it wasn't at night. This time, the attack involved some strange behavior at work. And so I loved where I worked. I worked there for 10 years. Yeah. And it was a fantastic place, but we lost a manager, and the manager had to move out, and we had some just absolute chaos that happened, and I decided, you know what, this is too much to handle. I need to quit. I'm done. I'm out of here. And so as I sat on my bed one morning and thought, what has just happened? I don't understand what is going on, because I've done everything correctly. And to this day, even me and the president of the company are just good friends, and everything is absolutely, I still love the company. But, you know, it was time for me to move on. And we both see maybe it was God's leading me to here to Tennessee to take another step, a new step, even in my life. But because of that, I believe, because of that strife that happened, it had something to do with this documentary that I was involved in. And here's how I came to that conclusion, Alex. This is an amazing part. During this same time that I was experiencing so much trouble, my After Effects artist, Manos was his name. He's the guy that was working with Hollywood. He was doing all the special effects for my documentary. And he said, I couldn't get a hold of him one day. And this is in the midst of my just turmoil at work. And I said, man, where are you? Do you want to do this last effect? I'm about to upload this. I've done as best as I can. Can you make it any better? No messages, no messages, no messages. And I've gotten consistent messages, sending him money, sending him, I've received files from him, and it's going really well. And all of a sudden it's just dead silent. And I think, what am I going to do? I got to get this thing out here. I have I've set in stone a date. I'm going to release this thing, and it's got to go. And so I'm going to transition from that story just a second to a friend of mine who I was working with in research on this project. His name is Mikey. Mikey, at the same time, realized that this is a big deal and started preaching about his message, the message that we both agreed was the truth behind this thing, in his church. And during that specific church service that he had decided he was going to talk about this topic, someone came up to him and said, your mother has suffered a terrible, terrible health issue, and you need to do something about it. Trying to prevent him from talking about this topic in church publicly. Wow. And he said, you know what, there's nothing I can do about it. It's a long ways away. I'm going to have to continue my message. So he did. He went ahead and continued his message in church, but he's found out his mother suffered a terrible, terrible health issue. And even till this day, she's not completely recovered. But about that time, I'm talking to Mikey, and we're realizing what's going on here. And then my buddy, the After Effects artist, contacts back, and he said, Brad, I am so sorry. I have not been able to get a hold of you. He said, there has been a terrible fire, and it's crawled through my hometown. It destroyed my studio. It destroyed my house.
Wow.
It destroyed all my stuff. I barely got out of there, and it's all gone. I don't know. I said, Manos, I don't understand what's happening here. But Mikey, my buddy, my research partner, is having some terrible family trouble. I'm experiencing terrible work trouble. You're experiencing terrible home trouble. Wow. All these three core parts of our lives are happening that don't seem to be intertwined together, but it seems strange to me that we all started trying to do this topic at the same time, and we're all experiencing these radical life-changing events in our life. After that, now Manos wasn't a Christian guy, but so I'm not sure if I scared him off or not, but I haven't heard from that guy since.
Really?
And it's really sad, because I think he's like, you got bad vibes or something, and I don't want to have anything to do with your topics anymore. But what it convinced me was this topic is very important. It's very important for our time. And as Christians, we need to protect ourselves with prayer and with a biblical understanding, so we can receive what God wants us to know, and we can communicate Him what we need.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I mean, this kind of topic is so important, and to me, I mean, watching your documentary, it's about deceiving. I mean, deceiving the world. I mean, it's a huge topic, and it's not just, I mean, your research or something like that, but it's the government. I mean, people important, people, you know, with this documentation, that it's like, no, this is evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, you see a little light in everything, but yeah, I mean, you see cases also with I don't know how to the right word to use, but did they go in the what's it called, those ships or something, like UFOs or something?
Yeah. These people, they apparently are abducted by UFOs or something. At least that's what they say.
Yeah.
I have more information on this that we can talk about if you want.
Yeah, and I remember I watched this video. I don't know if it was in your documentary or Mikey's documentary with Little Light Studios. And I'm gonna invite you guys both soon. You guys, if you're watching this video, I'm planning to invite Brad and Bradley and also Mikey, Jenny, and you guys both. I want you guys did these 2 documentaries, and also something more update. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be more update than that, but we're gonna hold on to the that for the next live show that we're gonna have soon. But yeah, deceiving the world. What do you think?
It's absolutely deceiving the world. And you know what? It's going to become an even bigger part of the deception. So just recently in this last couple years, I mean, we're just talking about the last 3 years that we've had so far.
Yeah.
The government has come out and said, yeah, these things are real and we don't know what to do about it. That means there has been what the UFO community calls a disclosure. And they have admitted that we're not sure where these things are from, and this is and there's have been some goofs that we've done by not explaining this stuff to higher ups, and we need to kind of backtrack a little bit and kind of dig ourselves out of this trench, because we're still not sure, even after 50, 60, 70 years, what these things are. Well, as Christians, if you really look into it, and this is what StarFall really examines and kind of extrapolates, it really makes sense that we know exactly what these things are. These things are demonic, and there's much more proof in StarFall than even we can go into. But I mean, if you just the basics, if you think about it, the things that have been going on, according to the government, this isn't conspiracy, but the things that have been going on is cattle mutilations. In other words, these things, they see a bright light come down and something happens, and cows or other large livestock are all of a sudden somehow dead. Not only are they dead, a specific organ or a specific part of the animal has been taken, and they're like, and people that come examine them, people that know these animals are like, this looks surgically removed. We don't understand why. And to this day, we don't really understand why that happens. Yeah. But why on earth would a good being come down and destroy one of God's creations? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. Number 2 things that happens is these things, according to the government, I mean, the government is saying this now, but this is not conspiracy. According to the government, people are experiencing, even inside the government, these things, if they're seen and if they go close to them, they're leaving with burns, 3rd-degree burns on their bodies. So much so that some of them have died. Pilots, military pilots, have cruised after these things, and this is unclassified information. They've cruised after these things from the US, from Russia, from China. They've gone after these things, and they are flying, I mean, just at ridiculous speeds. And when they shoot at them, when they try to destroy them with their military missiles or whatever, the thing either ricochets the bullets back and destroys the plane the pilot's in and he dies, or it goes right through the thing and continues, and they're like, how did it just miss the object after hitting it point blank? So obviously there's something here that is beyond our carbon-based systems. And what's the most amazing thing to me is that these UFOs, when people think UFOs, they think of a cylindrical disc, but this is 10% of the reports when they say UFO. The 90% of the reports are a round, glowing object. A round, glowing object.
You're right.
Well, when you paint angels, the good ones and the bad ones, what do you see? What do artists portray? What does the Bible say that they look like? Glowing, large people, or not people, but more of a humanoid look to them.
Beings.
But they are round and bright and big, and these things, my personal belief, are the default appearance of angels. Fallen angels is what we're seeing, and they're manifesting themselves in our day for a final deception that's coming.
Well, I want you to share with us, because I'm looking there in your YouTube channel. This guy, he's he used to work in the government, I believe in the military. His name is Elizondo.
Oh yes, Lou.
Yeah, and this guy, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you put it there, I forgot, but I remember seeing in the news channel people interviewed him. Like, for example, he has a major guy, he's not the top guy, but he was receiving orders, and his boss, he was telling him, please stop investigating this thing.
Yes.
And why? Can you please share with us?
Yes. This is a fascinating story. And so Lou is potentially one of the reasons that kicked me off into actually trying to do this documentary. Lou started appearing on the news and talking about this topic. Let me give you some background story on Lou. Lou Elizondo is a military professional. He worked at the Pentagon and at very high ranking, very high security clearances. And one of his security clearances, one day, one of his bosses says, hey, look, I want you to go through these secretive, classified archives of video shot from some of our most advanced military craft. I want you to look at this stuff and try to figure out what it is, because we need to understand it. It was called, the department he was in was called ATIP. AATIP. It stood for something. I forget the exact term. But when he was going through these archives, he was realizing, he said, so the government knows about this? These are the UFOs that so many people have been saying exist, and the government has been trying to cover up, and you want me to go through this and try to figure out what it is? And the government said, yeah, absolutely right. And so he said, we know what this is. We need to throw this out there. Now, Lou was a Catholic. He was he believed in the Bible. He believed in Jesus, but he didn't quite grasp what it was that he was looking at. His focus was, the government is lying to us. We need to release this information. And so he's kind of become the pinnacle of this whole story, because what happened was he left the Pentagon because his superior, after trying to release this stuff, his superior said, we're not going to release it. We're not going to release it because, Lou, you know what these things are. These are demonic angels, according to the Bible. Yeah. The government, the Pentagon, leadership in the Pentagon says these round orbs that are attacking and are in our airspace where they shouldn't be, that are mocking us, that are turning off our nuclear weapons and turning them back on, these things are demonic, and we don't want to touch them, because what has happened in the past is we've lost pilots, we've lost warships, we've lost terrible things when we try to attack these things. So go ahead.
But you don't hear that stuff in the news. I mean, no. It's just like you need to be digging for those clips, you need to be reading those archives, stuff like that.
And I'm not pulling this stuff just out of a hat. I mean, these are all declassified information. If you dig in the archives, if you watch the YouTube videos, there are government workers, retired government workers that come out and say, this is what happened. I have no reason to doubt. And then another one, same story, another one, same story, another one, same story. And after a while, you got to think, what do these guys have to lose? I mean, what do they just want? It can't be that so many people just want to be popular, just want that 15 seconds of fame. There was something else going on here.
Yeah.
So Lou, if I may continue with Lou's story.
Yeah, please. Yeah, interesting.
Lou is so Lou decides, enough of this government stuff. I'm gonna, throw away my pension plan. I'm throwing away my government clearances. I'm going out into the private sector, going out to a real work outside the government, and I'm revealing what's happening. Wow. So he got permission. Not only was he upset with the government for doing this, the Christian leaders.
Did he stay alive?
Yeah. Wait, what?
Did he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive, and he's still on the news. And I've been following his Twitter, his Facebook posts. It's very fascinating what he's doing right now. And he says he's got many more unclassified videos that he's unclassified from the government, and he has higher ups that he's consulting with that are approving him to say specific things about it, because the government realizes we can't do anything about this, and we need to help from outside. And so what he's done is he's gone outside. He's become the anchor, the talking head for the government, outside the government, that can say specific things that won't declassify anything that needs to remain classified. And so Lou has gone through and shown us some stuff that is kind of scary. But my belief, and I'll show you this through StarFall, is that this stuff is a slow release of information, not from our government officials, but from the spiritual realm, because of a big deception that's coming up very soon.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about that. I need to ask him about this great deception. What is this great deception? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you know, or it's bringing peace. I mean, I don't know. But before that, I'm gonna be sharing with everybody, because I'm sure people's like, where is his YouTube channel? Please, I just want to share with you guys, Bradley. His YouTube channel, his name is Strange Normal, and right here, the second StarFall Documentary is right there, almost 35 minutes. Please go over there and subscribe his YouTube channel. Watch it, so you can learn a lot of things and not to be deceived. He put in good information. Watch their videos, like their videos, and I know you're going to be blessed. Strange Normal YouTube channel. So tell us about what weekly has been released or something.
WikiLeaks. So this is very interesting. This is fascinating, because not only has the government confirmed that some of this stuff is happening, but also there has been WikiLeaks that has also confirmed. And WikiLeaks are these emails that have been leaked out, classified information from the government, showing that these things are legit. This is legit emails that they're talking about in government, in the U.S. government. So what's going on is there was this guy named Tom DeLonge. He was a longtime member of a group called Blink-182. He was a singer, a very popular singing, wealthy man. And he said, you know what? I've been researching this. I want to know more about UFOs. And so he's always been interested in UFOs. And because of his notoriety, because of his well-known character, he reached out to people that were in government and said, hey, I can help disseminate this information gradually to children. He wanted to tell children through children's novels about what was actually happening in the government through fiction. And the government approved him from doing this. Now, up to this point, it's all speculative. It's all what he said was going on, because he was back and forth with, according to him, high-ranking government officials, and the government officials were approving what he was writing in his book. And so, in order to slowly disseminate this information about UFOs and alien life. And so, what's interesting about this, though, is because of some WikiLeaks that had to do with the Hillary Clinton election process, those emails from Hillary's cabinet of people that was helping her were also in communication with Tom DeLonge, who was in communication with these high-ranking officials. Wow. All these emails got exposed and put out on WikiLeaks. And so you can go out and read this stuff and read what Tom DeLonge was saying to some of these high-ranking government officials about UFOs. And so all this stuff adds legitimacy to what Tom is saying. So everything he said on Coast to Coast AM, that it used to be an Art Bell show that talked about UFOs and aliens. Well, he's gone on there with a different host and said, well, I believe and I understand and this is what I know. And everyone's like, yeah, maybe. It's the truth. Apparently it's the truth, because it's out there from WikiLeaks showing that he was actually communicating with us. You can find out the names of the military officials that he was communicating with. You can find out who they were, what they were doing, what they currently are in the military right now. And it's really fascinating stuff, because it shows that there is something happening. There is something weird, very strange happening in our normal life that is going on right now, leading up to a big deception.
So tell us about this great deception, because I hear this phrase, maybe the UFOs are coming, aliens are coming, they're gonna give us a message, it's maybe it's deceiving the whole world. What kind of message do you think? I mean, you've been researching this for quite a while. You make a documentary and you still researching, because I mean you have a YouTube channel and I'm sure you're bringing more information, creating more videos. What do you think personally? What kind of message, if an alien will appear?
So a lot has happened in the last couple months, and I honestly haven't produced a video in maybe about 5 weeks on this. I try to produce a video every couple weeks, or if not sooner. But I've been moving from California to Tennessee, and I haven't had a chance to actually start producing one again. But what I have discovered is this: these beings, which are spiritual in nature, are going to try to come help us through some terrible disasters that are going to happen on Earth. And they are going to try to maybe even heal us. They're going to work great miracles, and people are going to be excited about it. There's even news articles talking about people that are just stoked about having a chance of seeing alien technology. Well, what's interesting is God doesn't have technology. When God creates something, he calls it creation. So if these things present technology, it's definitely not of God.
Wow.
It's not God's technology. So I wouldn't put it past demons to present technology they've made to humans. But we need to be very careful about what we receive. Not only that, there is commentary from the Bible that even says that these things will come, when these things come, they will come with what we think are relatives that have passed away. These relatives that have passed away are going to be demons impersonating our dead loved ones. And the dead loved ones are going to tell us to do stuff that is not correct with the Bible. And that's what's very scary about this, is what it's going to come down to. The big deception at the end is, do you believe your senses and what your eyes are telling you, what you're feeling, your smell, the same way that a loved one looked or talked to you? Or are you going to believe what the Bible says, that we shouldn't talk to spirits of the dead? We shouldn't talk to the dead relatives or any spirits that come to us. We must test the spirits, the Bible says. And that's where the big deception, that's what's going to lead up to the final events of Bible prophecy.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing, because let me tell you, I mean, you hear sometimes stories, people sharing I saw my aunt, I saw my mom, and they had the message from me. And sometimes you hear some, and I'm sure, I mean, you heard before some crazy stories about the angel told me to do this, or to go kill somebody, or to go rob something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Something weird message. So we need to be careful, folks. I mean, what are we watching?
Yeah,
and even Hollywood making all these movies. I mean, tell us about maybe some movies about that.
Yeah. I mean, to go off what you were saying previously.
Yeah.
Even if the being, angel, dead relative, what you appears to be a dead relative, comes to you and says, "Hey, go to church on a specific day." Why should we even bother about doing it? Why should we even listen to that thing when the Bible says don't listen to them, don't talk to them, and cite Bible verses to them, make them go away? There have been multiple Hollywood movies talking about this. There have been multiple. I mean, everything from The Eternals, which just came out, which is almost an exact representation of how Tom DeLonge represents these things and believes these things. I mean, aliens have been in our movies for centuries, decades. Star Trek, Star Wars, you have Yoda, you have E.T., Superman. All the Marvel series are have some form of supernatural power in them, almost setting us up to want to revere or worship beings that have supernatural abilities. And we know that angels, even demons, are much more powerful than us, and they can do stuff that are far and beyond our latest technology.
I didn't watch the movie. I just watched the trailer of, I don't know what kind of Superman it was, but you can see in the trailer that he's walking, right? And it's a military soldiers, and the soldiers, they just bow down to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a person is coming from another different planet, come down to Earth, and they just bow down to the soul. You know, those soldiers bow down to Superman, and it's
as
like,
if they're God. Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, can you imagine? Yeah, can you imagine someday in the future appear in, I don't know, in some part of Europe or in Africa or in the United States in the desert or something, and I mean, I don't know, I mean, kind of like Superman or something weird guy, and he's telling like what you were saying in the beginning, you know, like a message, a peace. Peace. I mean, we need to turn off the TV, man. I mean, we need to go to the Word of God, like what you were saying. Test the spirits.
Absolutely. Test the spirits. Turn off the TV. It's infecting your mind. It's programming you to believe a certain way, and adding sound bites to your brain that you just automatically rehearse as a knee-jerk reaction. That's the danger.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but I want to ask you a question. Do you know anything about frequencies that will affect in our brains?
I don't know what specific frequencies, but I do know about frequencies. I'm a ham radio operator.
Okay. So you know exactly there's some frequencies, because I mean it's kind of new to me, because a couple months ago I was watching a YouTube video, and they were talking about I believe it's like 428 or something, or lower, whatever. It's like classical music, right? Like it's really good for your ears, good for your brain, you know, and stuff like that. Lower than that is more peaceful, that people more relaxing, but you don't want to relax. I mean, there's some music to relax you, but it's some frequencies to like enjoy music. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't fall to sleep. You know, like kind of like you driving and you enjoying. And rock music is in like the frequency. I don't know exactly the number, maybe 500 or something. Like it's higher, right? They were saying is the hip hop. Now the new hip hop. So I don't know before what kind of frequency it was, but the new hip hop of frequencies is 800 and something. And when it's higher, they make the person angry and upset. Your character, you know, your temperature, it change. So I was like, wow, that's very interesting. I need to study more about frequencies, because you're like, frequency, I mean, it's just in the radio, you know, megahertz and, you know, things like that. But I didn't know how some frequencies to help you to relax you, some frequencies to make you to, you know, be upset or angry, you know, things like that.
Well, everything is based on frequencies. I mean, what all frequencies are is just the pattern and the amount of waves per second. And so you can have all this packed in, like for instance, microwaves is a frequency. You have sound, obviously a frequency. You have light. Light is obviously a frequency. Every single wave that happens in our world, every single thing that we perceive through our senses is a frequency. And so it wouldn't surprise me in the least if there are some frequencies, there is some form of energy that can really damage us. In fact, we know that the brain produces alpha waves and beta waves, and there has been technology that man's made to actually receive these waves and try to figure out what they are. We know that God can read our mind. How does he do that? Well, I'm sure there's some way that our brain definitely produces. I mean, he's God, obviously, but there is always an explanation behind all this stuff. So it's very interesting to kind of poke into frequencies, because we don't know an iota of all the technology. I mean, of all the things that we could know about this universe, about physics.
Yeah. What about the frequencies in our cell phones nowadays? I mean, because the cell phones or the phone they used to have in homeland, those lines, in the house. Now cell phones, I mean, the frequencies or the affect your brain or something. I mean,
it's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Interesting.
More research has to be done on it for sure.
Yeah, because there's a lot of videos up there, programs and History Channel. I mean, things like that. And maybe it's gonna be affecting us, our belief of strange normal up there.
Absolutely, yeah, there is, and a particular one that comes to mind is this sci-fi documentary series on TV, cable TV, I believe, called Ancient Aliens. This is the most propaganda TV show I've ever seen in my life. It has so much error. It has nothing to do with the Bible. The writers are completely against the Bible. They want nothing to do with it, and they're describing things that that have no basis in facts at all. And so when you turn to media to get your facts, you are turning to the most alternative facts, the most ridiculous stuff that you've ever seen. And so you really got to be picky and choosy about what you watch, what you believe is true, because the Hollywood machine, they'll just feed you the information until until you go to hell, basically. Wow. But they will so the best method, and I've heard this, when you want to find out if a currency like a dollar bill is real or not, is to study the real thing. Because if you study the real thing, you'll be able to tell when something's wrong. Don't go studying the wrong thing, because you will undoubtedly make a mistake.
All right. Well, thank you for being here and share with us. But before we're gonna finish this interview, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys all once again this YouTube channel, Strange Normal. Please, Bradley YouTube channel. The documentary is right there, StarFall, and another topics, mind control, night attacks, heavy stuff. So please go over there and watch those videos, and to help us to be aware. Thanks so much for your hard work, seriously, Bradley, for making those videos, and we cannot wait that you're making more videos about this topic, because you spend more time than us trying to figure out things.
Thanks for having me on your program. It's been wonderful.
Great. Okay. Don't hang up. I'm gonna finish this video. Okay, you guys. I hope you were blessed. This interview with Bradley Burnham here, and just be blessed. He's a producer and about this documentary, StarFall. And let me tell you, go his YouTube channel. I know you're gonna be blessed. Strange Normal YouTube channel, and don't forget to share this link. Because let me tell you, we want to be in the Word of God. We want to know the truth. Because let me tell you, you never know, it's gonna be something strange things flying around, and maybe they're gonna tell us something strange, deceiving us, and we don't want to be deceived. So please go watch the documentary StarFall, and thanks so much for your support here in Just Be Blessed. My name is Alex Castillejos, and we'll see you next week with another powerful testimony. Bye-bye.